Emily Kovacs. I'm a costume designer and costumer. I like to make costumes based on characters from video games and anime or movies. It's generally characters that I really enjoy and really attach to. Well, when I first saw Hyrule Warriors, I got really stoked about it. It was a completely different direction for the Zelda series. And when I saw Zelda finally in armor, which is more armor than what she normally wears, because before it's just shoulder armor, and I was like, wow, she looks really cool. And she's out in battle and she's fighting, so it's really like nice to see Zelda doing something other than just standing all elegant and graceful. Now she's actually out there running straight into battle. To do justice to the princess herself would be like a huge like undertaking, and I'd always felt like I'm not worthy. I expected the costume to have a little bit of a challenge here and there. Once you start actually breaking everything out, it's like, oh, I have to make this, this, and this. How do I make that? It probably took almost every single technique that I've ever learned in costume making. It has sewing, it has 3D modeling, it has mold making, armor making, embroidery, wig styling. Well, the corset was probably one of the challenging pieces to the costume, because this is probably the second corset I've ever made, and I'm not much of a corset person. I went out and got a pattern that I felt was probably the closest that you can achieve. And every pattern you buy out there, you have to alter, because there's nothing specifically made for like Zelda. And she has a really interesting design in her corset. So I took that corset, I drafted it out, and then I recreated it in the new shape and new pattern to be accurate to hers. Well, I learned to sew mainly from my mom. She had a sewing machine, and I would ask her, it's like, Mom, show me how to use this. And she would show me like the basics of how to use the machine, and then after that I was like, oh cool, I could probably try more things. I could make maybe, clothes for dolls or something. One year for Halloween, I decided, wait, I have a sewing machine. I could finally maybe try this out and do it. And then I made a Link costume. It wasn't the greatest. It was really bad looking. It's very embarrassing. I still refuse to post any pictures of it online because it was just that bad. Her skirt was really difficult to figure out because it almost flares out, but it's open in the front, so there can't be a petticoat underneath to hold it up. So I just kind of stiffened the fabric to the amount I felt was just about right. Once I started breaking down all the pieces, I realized, wow, this skirt is really nuts. And to have that design go all the way around, I had to figure out how to warp it so it fits along perfectly. And the amount of pieces the skirt ended up having was probably about 350 some pieces just for the gold designs. And just doing the gold designs took about 16 hours. The armor was definitely the most challenging piece to create for this costume. A lot of the prop making and the armor making, I've actually learned from my dad. I would be around my dad, like I'd be 5 years old, and I'd always spend my time in the shop with him. I would watch him repair cars and repaint cars and all that stuff. So we took all those skills and techniques from auto body shop and applied it to props and armor. So that's where all my painting skills and everything come in. There was just so many pieces involved to it. Her armor isn't just like a solid shape. There's like pieces going inward and outward and just curves and so many different layers. And once I started breaking it down into segments, I was just like, holy jeez, there is way more involved to this than I originally thought. Building armor is really no different than making a fabric outfit. The pattern making is exactly the same way. You're just making, instead of a soft piece, a solid piece. When I finally completed the costume, it brought so much relief to me. It's like, wow, this crazy journey has finally ended. The outfit Zelda wears in the game is right here in my room. This is so cool. But no matter how many times I've done a costume and made all these different costumes that vary from sewing to armor to chainmail or anything, each costume always ends up being a completely new learning experience, and I learn new techniques from each one each time. So it's almost like I'm leveling up every single time I make an outfit. It's really cool when you figure out some awesome new technique. It's like, wow, I can't wait to apply this to another outfit when I make something later on. This is a Nagi, my little baby.